All right, I'm gonna try this again, y'all. I'm gonna try this again. When people get in here, let me know if you can hear me well or not. I don't know how well it's working. Let me know if you can hear me. Oh man, what a game! What a player, Luka Doncic. What a guy. Uh, so this game had a lot in it. It had it had Luka going absolutely bonkers. 43 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists on a hurt ankle. Didn't even know if he was going to play. It was a game time decision. And not only does he play, he absolutely balls out of control. You know what I'm saying? Um, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense how good this kid is at such a young age. Like he's younger than me, right? He's 21 years old. It's not making sense to me. Um, all game, he was just in control. He was the best player on the court all game. And that was with Kawhi Leonard on the court. Kawhi had a great game. He did his thing, but Luka Doncic is just different, right? They kept saying in the broadcast, Kawhi is a decent playmaker. No, he's not. I don't want to hear that. He's not. He's not. And when you compare him to Luka, he's not even in the same stratosphere in terms of making plays for others. Luka sets up all of the offense for the Mavericks. Like things go through him. He scores 43 points against what is on paper was supposed to be the best defense in the league. You have a guy like Paul George, you have a guy like Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, all these guys that you're supposed to be able to throw at him. Landry Shamet, Pat Beverly when he comes back. Um, you're supposed to have all these guys that you could throw at people and wear them out and wear them out. This kid's 21 years old and he's laughing at that. You understand me? He sees Reggie Jackson and he laughs. He sees Paul George and he's like, "Oh, y'all put Pandemic P on me? Oh, guess I gotta go get a bucket now." Like, it doesn't really make sense to me how good he is. 17 rebounds is absolutely insane. 13 assists. Like I said, he sets the table for everybody. Scored or assisted on like 70% of the buckets today. And he's just him. He's really just him. Uh, Other players I want to give a shout out to real quick. Trey Burke, Seth Curry. They were great. They combined for 40 points. Trey Burke had 25. Seth Curry had 15. Very efficient, you know. Seth Curry got up and screamed in Paul George's face after he got an and one on him. Said, "Hey, you know what this is. Took your girl better than you on the court." That's that on that. Um, Speaking of Paul George, and we will get to him. Trey Burke, like I said, was very good. 25 points, 10 of 14 from the field, so he was super duper efficient. And he just provides that secondary guy when Luka, needs his breaks on the court that can just go get his own shot. You know what I mean? And there's like so much value in just being able to create for yourself. Because even when you're creating for yourself, you draw help, and then all of a sudden the defense gets in rotation. When the defense gets in rotation, the Mavs shoot the three ball super well. So it's hard. It's hard to scramble out there to all those shooters. But man, just what a game! Just what a game! Back and forth all the way through. Um, 10 of 14 from Trey Burke. Paul George now. We will get to Pandemic P. I mean, playoff PEE. I mean, PG 13%. I mean, like this guy sucks, bro. He sucks. I don't want. This guy's not good. Okay, I don't know why we were made to believe that this Clipper team was just this big bad juggernaut, and they have all these guys who can win you a game. It's Kawhi or bust with them, right? Lou Williams showed up today. He had a great game. Morris hit a big shot late. But these guys, like Paul George, bro, what? Let's be honest with ourselves. Since the 20, I want to say 12 playoff series they had against LeBron, where it went 7 games, what has Paul George done in the playoffs that makes you think he's a good playoff performer? In 2018, his first year with OKC, he gets clamped up by Joe Ingles. Last year against the Trailblazers, he didn't have a great series, and then he got the game-winning shot to win the series hit on him, and then proceeded to go to the press conference and tell America that it was a bad shot. Excuse me, he made it right in your eye. Like it's like he's a cornball to me, really. Like he can't give nobody credit when they do good. You saw the trash talk with Dame in the bubble earlier. Um, Last game, I think it was game 3. After a win, he plays terrible, and he goes up talking about, well, my game's not James Harden. I'm not James Harden. I don't predicate myself on only scoring. Well, scoring would help, bro. You have, oh my God. His last 3 games, he shot 10 of 47 from the field. All right. I just talked about Trey Burke being 10 of 14 tonight. Paul George is 10 of 47 in his last 3 games. So score a little, please. You played 45 minutes today and you scored 9 points. So really, what were you out there for? Just to get a sweat in? Just to run? Just to do some cardio? Like, I don't. He's not good. And he was talking about in his press game, sometimes the moment and having a hostile arena makes it easier for you to get into the moment. Boy, shut up. Because you had a hostile environment last year against the Trailblazers and the year before that against the Jazz. And you sucked in both of those games, those elimination games. So I don't want to hear anything of any sort of excuse for Paul George. I don't want to hear it. Okay. Kawhi is literally carrying the Clippers. They could easily be down 3-1 if Kristaps doesn't get ejected. And they just don't look good. They just don't look good, okay? I might be being harsh. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. They don't really look like a world-beating team. But that's enough on them, man. Let's talk about Luka Doncic again. This kid is 21 years old. I cannot stress that enough. And it doesn't matter who you put on him. You put Kawhi on him, he'll call us up for a screen and get around and attack the dropping big, whether that be Zubac, whether that be Harrell. He was carving them to death to where in the final 5 minutes of the game, he forced Doc Rivers, a championship-winning coach, to play his big man off the floor. No Zubac, no Harrell. They couldn't play because Luka was getting whatever they wanted, whatever he wanted against them in a drop coverage. What do? They play 5 wing guard players with Reggie Jackson, Lou Will, Kawhi, PG, and Morris, so they can switch everything. All he does is just, I don't know, step back tween for game right in Reggie Jackson's eye. He had another one off an elbow catch, and he just stepped back all the way back to the 3-point line. Reggie Jackson was in the lane somewhere, 3-ball money. He played surprisingly very good defense on Paul George for a couple stints. As much as I've been getting on Paul George, he's a very shifty player, and Luka was able to stay in front pretty well. And mind you, bro, this game was won with the Dallas Mavericks not having their second best player. Kristaps Porzingis was a game-time scratch because of knee soreness, and the Wonder Boy just said, I got it. Said, F what they got going on, I got to represent. Word to Drake, right? It's just crazy the amount of control he has over a game at such a young age. It really is. Man, my friend Dylan just texted me. He said the refs let the Mavs play with 6 players all night, and I couldn't agree more. Like Paul George is that bad. He was a net negative for the Clippers. He was awful. He was awful. He was awful. Um, just not good. This is, man, 43, 17, and 13. Only 2 other players have done that in a playoff game. 40-point triple double. That would be Oscar Robertson, Charles Barkley, and then Russell Westbrook. I think one year had a 50-point triple double in the playoffs. Um, but this kid is just already made of legend. He's already made of legend. He's 21 years old. This is his second year in the league. And for all those people all you Hawks fans talking about, oh, it was a win-win trade, and we got Trae Young out of it, we got Cam Reddish. No, you boys could have had Luka Doncic, and you traded him for Trae Young and Cam Reddish. It's not the worst trade in the world, but it's a loss. I don't. At this point, it's a loss. This guy is a generational talent. He's a generational talent. He can't be played off the floor because he can't defend because he's 6'8". Trae Young's like 5'11", so teams will pick on him if he ever does get to a playoffs. Teams will pick and roll him to death. Um, Luke, you can't say Luka's the better or Trae's the better scorer because Luka scores just as much as him, if not a little more. He's gonna rebound more. He assists just as much, if not more, there as well. Really and truly, like Hawks fans feel sick. Suns fans, as good as their future looks, they feel sick that they could have drafted this kid. Um, Kings fans took Marvin Bagley for whatever reason. Um, just not good. Man, biggest takeaway though, moving into Game 5, I would say is number one when Kristaps comes back. Because I expect Patrick Beverly to play in Game 5 for the Clippers. When Kristaps comes back, he's got to abuse Zubac and he's got to abuse Harrell in those minutes. Okay, Boban was great tonight. When he comes in, you need to match his minutes with Harrell. Now, obviously, he might not play as many, but when Harrell comes in, as my friend Bailey says, Boban should be right behind him. There's no reason to not play him in the Harrell minutes because he's gotten the better of Harrell. Montrezl Harrell is one of those players who scores exerting more energy than you and using more strength to bully you to where he can get to his spot and just shoot layups and floaters. Only problem is when Boban's in, he's 7'3", 290, so you're not going to shoot over him. You're not going to bully him because he's stronger than you. And he's a pretty nimble guy for being 7'3", 290, so the pick and roll isn't going to give him too much trouble if he's just in a drop coverage. He can just stick his arm out, cover the shot, stick this arm out, cover the roll. You know what I mean? Um, and then on the other end, Montrezl Harrell's 6'7" or 6'8", whatever he is. And Boban, as you saw tonight, he'll give you a little half hook in that paint, and he's very skilled around the rim. He's got a really good touch. So I liked to see Boban in with that bench unit, or even with Luka. That's kind of how they got back in the game. Mind you, this game was so long ago. Like the Mavs were down 21 at one point and came all the way back. But it was those Boban minutes were great with Luka. Trey Burke was great. He's been great all series, honestly. He just won me some money on DraftKings. Um, but really and truly, like the scoring, the Mavericks can score at will. They were the best offense in history in terms of net rating this season, and it's showing. It's showing. Uh, they are getting wherever they want to on the floor with whoever, whether it be Seth Curry, whether it be Trey Burke, whether it be Luka Legend, Luka Magic. And then when Porzingis is in and playing, he's been great all series. So I don't know, man. This Clipper team looks super vulnerable. This Mavericks team looks very, very good. The Michael Kidd Gilchrist minutes were surprisingly really good for Dallas. You know, um, I'm very eager to see what adjustments Doc makes because he's a very I'm only going to adjust if I lose type of coach. Well, you lost, buddy, so make an adjustment. Um, I'm interested to see what he does there and things of that nature, man. These guys are just good. These guys are just really good at scoring. They're good at operating in tight windows, and um, especially when it comes to Luka, like his vision, being 6'8" as a point guard, his vision to where he can see over everyone on the court guarding him. Like none of those long arm defenders really bother him because he's just as tall, you know. Whereas a guy like Chris Paul or a guy like I don't know, just smaller point guards, Trey Young, for example, like these type of guys might struggle against the Clippers defense because they're long arms and they're rangy defenders. But Luka, he can just kind of hold the ball here and just look up over and see wherever he needs to make that pass. And, you know, the 13 assists show it tonight. It showed all series that whenever he gets 2 feet in the paint, good things happen for the Mavericks. Um, I don't know what to tell you. What do you think the Mavs do to slow Kawhi down? I don't think there's an answer to that question, Kiesia. I think what you try to do is just limit the others. I would say. So you keep playing your hard nosed defense on pandemic P. Um, at this point, PG might stand for pretty garbage because you're damn sure. No, you're damn sure not hooping. But I think you just try to limit the others, man. Lua had 30 tonight. You don't want that to happen again because you will lose another game like that. Um, you just kind of let Kawhi get his, and maybe he gets frustrated. It exerts a lot of energy out of him to where he can't be that two-way player we know him as on the other end. And you just say, hey, if Kawhi gets 50 tonight, he gets 50 because we don't want Lou Will, we don't want Shamit, we don't want Paul George to start hitting shots because then it's going to be really hard to guard him. You know what I mean? Um, I appreciate the question, but I just think you make him take tough twos like they were doing tonight, and he's going to hit most of them because he's that good of a player. But you stick the Cleavers and the Dorian Finney-Smiths and the Michael Kidd Gilchrist on them, just make them shoot over a contest because you can't stop everything when you're playing a great player. You're just not going to. So take away a couple things. Take away the other players so they don't get going early, and you want to take away his free throws. You don't want to foul him. You just want him to make shots over a contest is what I would say. Um, because as you saw in that last possession, or the possession before the last one, when Kawhi drove it on Michael Kidd Gilchrist, he was in decent position to defend. Maxi Kleber came over just instinctually to try and help off the corner. And Kawhi was able to find Morris, who just stepped in rhythm and knocked down a big shot, right? So I think if you're Dallas moving forward, you say, okay, we're going to try and provide a little less help unless he's just got a clear blow by and is about to get a layup. We just want to provide help, stay down on pump fakes, make him shoot over a hand, and he's going to have to beat us with mid-range twos because on the other end, we got a guy who just dropped a 43-point triple-double and can get wherever he wants on the floor and generate us good shots. So that's what I would say about that, man. I'm not in the big camp of how do we slow down the best player. I just say I'm more in the camp of if the best player, if you know he's going to score inevitably, let him score and take away the others because it's much easier to beat a team like that. And you saw this in the past, those years towards the tail end of Kobe's career. Happy birthday, Kobe, by the way. Luka got you a good present for sure. Um, but the tail end of the playoff runs for Kobe was, 2011, 2012. Teams just let him score 35, 40 points. They took away Gasol. They took away Bynum. They took away Odom. And, a lot of times we lost games because Kobe would have 40, which was great. It's what he's supposed to do, try and not let them lose. But the game plan was, hey, he's going to have to score 70 to beat us because we're not going to let these guys score. And, I think for the Mavericks, man, I really do think they're going to win this series if they win the next game. If they go up 3-2, they're going to win it in 6. I just don't think the Clippers have that mental fortitude. If the Clippers win Game 5, I could see it possibly going 7. But I would just say limit the others, because at the end of the day, all the Mavs want to do is win, right? They don't want to say, oh, we kept Kawhi to 25. They just want to win the game. So that's what I would say with that. But yeah, man, I think that's pretty much all I kind of want to say. If you're watching this post, afterwards, thank you guys for clicking in, and hope you subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend. For those of y'all, who came in and came out, appreciate you. For the one who stayed in through and through, I appreciate you. Um, but yeah, that's all I got.